Yeah.
Hopefully y'all can hear me all right. We got a lot to discuss. I'm seeing in the chat a few people. I saw Big Bro. I'm muted? Nah. I don't think I'm muted. Finn, let me know if I'm still muted. If you can hear me. Let me turn the music off. Maybe that'll help. But we got a lot to discuss. This Pam Bondi stuff is wild. She's we're gonna get into all that, but I didn't want to be just negative. Why is this? Hold on, let me adjust. Oh, is it the wrong camera? Oh, I'm over here adjusting the other camera, the camera that's supposed to be using. I'm like, why does it look like that? It looks funny. It looks like the wrong angle. I guess this computer camera is not that bad if I couldn't tell. But we got a lot to discuss. As you're joining, please make sure you hit that like button. Like I said, the Pam Bondi stuff is wild. And perhaps what's just as wild is I've just been learning about Ron Paul. Wasn't the most familiar with Ron Paul's career, his policies. But the more I hear him, he seems like one of the most common sense politicians I've ever listened to. I don't know if y'all are familiar with him, but he's next level when it comes to the things that he was predicting and them coming to fruition. We're going to look back at a bunch of his videos from the past, and it makes you wonder and maybe gives us some excitement about maybe we can implement some of these things in the future. So and I didn't know that Thomas Massey was a disciple of Ron Paul. So definitely gets a whole lot of credibility from me from that standpoint, because Thomas Massey is one of my, I don't know if I have favorite politicians, but he's one of the people that I look to and just say like, yeah, Thomas Massey stands on business. I would vote for that kind of guy. Maya's heading off. Everybody say bye to Maya. She's wearing her new jacket as she's rushing off to the bus. That's what you hear in the background. No. It's all good. We just want to, she said, have a good day. You have a great day as well, Maya. Go make us some money, baby. All right, let's get into it. My apologies. I got a little bit off track. Blame Maya. All right, so Big Bro Finn coming through bright and early as he always does. The future of a society drifts from the truth. The more it will hate those who speak it. So I'm sorry. I read that all wrong. The further a society drifts from, it's in small print. If you understand, I'm sitting back and the computer's over there. I got the wireless setups. Hey, whatever. The further a society drifts from the truth, the more it will hate those who speak it. The further, wow, yeah. This is the position that I feel like we're in and perhaps have always been in. This is the position that we're in. And we've seen this over and over, whether it's one of our favorites, Malcolm X, a lot of these people in the past, Ron Paul, people who are just speaking the truth, they get villainized because the people, we're not calling them elites, the people that are running things, they want the chaos. They want the confusion. So when somebody brings clarity to the table, it's like, oh, nah. It's the same thing when it comes to pharmaceuticals. When somebody starts speaking out on the truth, but oh, nah, we can't have that. We can't have you speaking the truth because that's exposing how we get ahead, how we line our pockets, what's beneficial for us, how we need to finesse these people, indoctrinate these people. You're giving them too much truth. So we see that over and over. So I like that a lot. George Orwell. Shout out to my guy, George Orwell. And yes, shout out to Michelle, of course. Make sure y'all smash that like button on your way in. We got a great show planned. A lot of interesting things to talk about. You have to act as if it were possible to radically transform the world. Angela Davis. You have to act as if it were possible to radically transform the world. Angela Davis. Love that, Finn. That reminds me of, I just saw, who was it? Richard Branson. Yo, I didn't even know that the same Virgin Records, that's the same Virgin Airlines. I didn't even know that. But there was some quote. He was like, yeah, if your friends don't think that your goals are crazy or that you're crazy enough for believing in your goals, then your goals aren't big enough. All these, everybody says the same thing. We just have to embrace it. That's what I'm realizing. We all know how to go about certain things, how to accomplish certain things. It really comes down to whether or not we want to commit to it or how bad we want it. Going back to that old school ET video, how bad do you want it? That's what it comes down to, in my opinion. Shout out to Big Bro Steve. Foreign aid is taking money from the poor people of a rich country and giving it to the rich people of a poor country. Whoa. Foreign aid is taking money from the poor people of a rich country and giving it to the rich people of damn. Had to think about that one for a second. Damn, yeah, all this foreign aid that we see jumping out of here. And to add on to that sentence, Big Bro Steve, I would almost even say, and it's also, if that's not enough, and then once you do that, once the politician that's in office that gives out the foreign aid, once he's now out of office, now he's lining his own pockets, it seems like. So we're in a rough spot, but exposure is happening, and perhaps we just needed to get into that rough spot for the exposure to actually matter, for it to mean anything to us, the people. Because until things mean something to us, the people, then we're always going to just be in this reoccurring cycle of complaining and not actually executing. So I'm happy about where we're going. I'm happy that we seem to be approaching some sort of rock bottom, or at least the appearance of a rock bottom where it's waking a lot of people up. So we'll see what happens, though. We shall see what happens. Morning, everyone. Going to be a great day. That is a fact, big bro. It is going to be a great day. Grand Rising OG fam. Hope everyone is well. Let's keep it going. Hopefully I won't take too long to get through this today. El Relly in the building. Shout out to El Relly. Shout out to Blue Line MP. Yo, gang. What's up, gang? Appreciate you tapping in. Bright and early. Good to see you. Good to see you. Make sure y'all hit that like button on your way in. Shout out to Big Bro Robert in the building. We got the team. We got Bubbles. You know, it ain't a show without Bubbles. Good morning, everyone. Today is my Friday, off for 5 days. Damn, Bubbles. You off for 5 days? I need some help, man. Hit me up. You off for 5 days. You don't want to just do nothing for 5 days. Maybe this is an opportunity, Bubbles, to take these 5 days. And I'm sorry if I'm overstepping, but maybe it's an opportunity to take these 5 days. I always look forward to having a couple of days, because then it's like you can visualize, what the rest of your quarter is going to look like, what the rest of your year is going to look like. Pick out some of the books that you want to read. Use it as a time to maybe develop certain habits throughout the day. Like, hey, I'm going to use this to start getting my morning routine on board, or make sure that I'm getting in bed early. Whatever it is, maybe use it to get the best of it. That's all I'm saying. Or do absolutely none of what I suggested and just live your life. That's cool too. I just can't help it. I can't help it. Shout out to Phyllis in the building. Good morning, podcast people. If you have an excuse of why you're not up early, hit up Phyllis, because she's up bright and early. She's in San Diego, so it is 5:17 a.m. there. So obviously there's no excuses. Mama Lay in the building. Shout out to Mama Lay in the building. I see you're back by me. Yeah, I'm back. And that cold air hit me yesterday, and I was talking all that to y'all yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. When I forget who said that it was gray skies. I think Robert said it was raining. I forget who said it. And I was looking over, looking at the water, looking at the sunshine. And now I flew in yesterday, got into Queens, and I felt like Arsenio Hall in Coming to America, like this filth. I was looking down at it, like, look at this dirty snow. Look at these people looking angry. Like, I felt uppity coming from Florida. I'm like, these people live in this? But yeah, I'm here. I'm home. All right, let me see. Hidalgo goes. I like your sweater. Appreciate that. I'm a little hot, so hopefully it cools down. I had to turn the heat off. But yeah, definitely appreciate that. Definitely. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. We got Boogie Bug in the building. Grand Rising, Bug. Grand Rising. Detective Washington. I mean. Oh, wait. I just be happy when I see my bro. You know, you know. The first election I voted for Ron Paul. Really? So this is what I want to ask maybe some of the people that were voting. Now, I don't think was I voting then? Wait, I guess I was voting then. Wait, what year did Ron Paul run? What year was Ron Paul making his run? I think that when Ron Paul, hold on, let me look this up. Matter of fact, y'all will tell me in the chat. Let me know in the chat, and then I'll come back to you, James. But yeah, let me know in the chat when Ron Paul was running, because I'm almost to the point where it's like, yo, how did I not know about Ron Paul? And that's probably because I was around that time, you know, it was Democrat or die. Like that was the energy. Remember when Diddy was running around talking about vote or die? Yeah, that's can you believe that's what they had us? And to a lot of y'all adults, y'all allowed Diddy run around out here and get us so indoctrinated into this voting as if we vote or die. That was probably one of the worst campaigns that we could allow our kids to get on board, because all it did was emotionalize us from a standpoint of, oh, if we vote for the Republicans, we're going to die. We're going to have our kids. It emotionalized us instead of having us look at politics from a logical standpoint. And then we wonder why years down the line, generation after generation, we're still voting based on emotions. We're still voting based on, oh, well, these are my policies, but I just don't like them. I just don't like them. So I'm just going to, yeah, but I just don't like that person. We got to do better. We got to grow. We got to mature when it comes to politics, or politics will continue to take advantage of us like it has been. All right, let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Love Ron Paul and Massey, man. All right, so then we got some y'all are more familiar with Ron Paul than me. Shout out to Dutch in the building. Good morning, good people. Good morning, Dutch. Hope all is well. Hope all is well. All right, shout out to Unc. Shout out to Unc. None of them are going to end up going to prison. None of them are going to end up getting anything more than what was that TV show? Oh, you're fired. Regarding anybody that was on the Epstein files, I'm assuming you're talking about Unc. Yeah. It'll be interesting. There is nothing so confining as the prison of your own perception. Y'all are damn. Yo, can we come up with hold up? We need to come up with either some sort of virtual book or some sort of offering where maybe we put together a book of that, or is there some type of copyright, trademark, or something like that? Maybe we could speak them. But we need to do something, even if it's not for selling it, but just to put out that good energy. I watched this video, and I don't know if somebody sent it to me or not, but it was a video, and let me know if you did send it to me. A video saying that 1%, if 1% of the population meditates, it actually decreases the crime rate pretty significantly. It was like if 1% of the population meditates, and I just came across this video. I don't know exactly where I got it from, but I just came across it, and I was just sitting there thinking, I'm like, yo, that could be dope. Like, all we have to do is meditate. All we have to do is continue doing our breath work. And if that just grows, then we can significantly decrease crime, improve perhaps, ourselves from a soul standpoint, our mental health, all these different things. So I like that. Y'all know me. I'm always going off on a tangent. Shout out to Andy in the building, my brother Andy. I like Ron Paul and can get behind most libertarian ideas, but some of it is too extreme for me. Like, yeah, I hate taxes, but I like roads and schools too. Not how I feel about totally privatized. Yeah, it's interesting. And I think when we just bring all these different perspectives in the room and just have adults in the room discussing them without agendas that they're already going into the meetings with, then I think we can figure this out. Like, I think that we think that this is more complicated, or that we think that this is not an education standpoint, but like we think that this is anything other than rich people influencing politicians to cause this chaos and to cause this disruption. This we could fix this country very easily, in my opinion. I don't think that it's that difficult to make these decisions. When we're making certain decisions across the board, like when things come in front of Donald Trump's desk, hey, what should we do? Israel, Palestine, what should we do? I think when we break it down, a lot of these decisions are very simple. They only become appearing to be complicated based on how the politicians are presenting it to us and how they're riling us up from an emotional standpoint. That's when things become complicated. When we have conversations that are not emotional and are just talking from a policy standpoint, hey, what do you need in your community? Hey, what do you need in your community? What's helping your community? What's helping your community? This stuff becomes very common sense. And also, I think people remove or like put their guard down and become open to even helping people, regardless of what side you're on. So I'm definitely on board with that. I just think I think it's a balance of everything. I think it's a balance of everything, and different views or perspectives may be more valuable depending on what particular situation we're going through. What's the state of our economy? What's the state of our society overall? So I'm definitely with that. Definitely with that. All right, let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. NMO, shout out to NMO tapping in. Americans can't stand for their liberty and freedom. You will be in chains. Americans can't stand for their liberty and freedom. You will be in chains or a coffin. Sometimes it takes that. Sometimes it takes that. And I guess a lot of our ancestors, if they decided to, like, a lot of people will look at that as not having an option, not being a choice. Choosing to do something and dying over it, that's a choice. So, like anything else that we make or any other choice that we make in life, is it worth it having that ice cream? Is it worth it getting up early and going to the gym? Is it worth it? Whatever decision you need to make more money, is it worth it? We may not like the choices that are presented to us, but a lot of our heroes were presented with the most unattractive choices and they stood on them. And that's why we celebrate them as heroes. Now, not everybody wants to play a hero role. That's totally cool. Maybe you could support your local hero. All right, let's keep it moving. What up, Unc? Shout out to Skeeg in the building. What's good, Skeeg? Shout out to Randy, my brother Randy in the building. Randy's very sharp still for his age too. Yeah, I didn't even realize that he had a bunch of he has he does a lot of content. I didn't realize that he was putting out content. So that's definitely dope. Definitely dope. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. Anybody? I want to make sure I don't forget anything. Yep. Shout out to John in the building. Shout out to John in the building. Welcome back to the town, man. We here, baby. We here. Robert says, still raining in Utah, hardly any snow. No snowmobiling this season for me. Oh, you usually get on the snowmobile? Man, we got to pull up in Utah. Check you out. We got to pull out in Utah and check you out. That'll be fun. Shout out to Paul in the building, like number 10. Hold up, I may be missing it. Hold on. I'm looking at other comments, man. He's funny. Shout out to Samira. What's up, Samira? Hope all is well. Shout out to Steve Jackson. How would they notice? All right, let's keep it moving. We're going to have a convo. We're going to have the convo. My fault. I get y'all off on all these tangents, and then y'all respond in the comments, and then I act like I have no idea what y'all are talking about because the thought has already gone out the mind. All right, let's get into it. I don't want to waste any more time. Let's take a look at some of these videos. The first video that we're going to look at is Tucker. It's only a short clip because we don't want Tucker and his copyrighted content kicking us off of this live. So we'll take a look at Tucker, then we'll bounce back and forth. We got a bunch of videos on Ron Paul. We got a couple videos on our education system. Do the Democrats represent young Democrats? This man, cool video. He's breaking down the difference between China and I guess what people would call communism compared to our system of capitalism. And then we got a bunch of other videos that we're never going to get to if I keep talking. So let's just get to this first video. Let me share the screen for y'all. And we shall go from there. All right.
Enraged. What really enraged the entire Washington, D.C. commentary class about Ron Paul is that he was right. Not that he was lying, not that he was hateful, not that he was a secret racist or Nazi. All untrue, but they wouldn't care if those things were true. What really made them mad is that Ron Paul precisely, crisply, and honestly diagnosed the problem and predicted the result years in advance. Ron Paul, in political terms, is what we call a prophet. And if there's one thing we know about prophets, is that they usually get stoned to death by angry crowds. In fact, almost always. People hate being told the truth about future events, particularly when they're implicated in the causes of those disasters. They just hate it. Nobody wants to hear about how they're on the wrong path. And so people who call it early are 100% of the time hated for it. They're not rewarded. They're not given some prize. There's no Nobel Prize for predicting the future. There's only a jail sentence or slander from Ben Shapiro and Jeffrey Epstein's friends, the New Republic, and the rest of the liars. And Ron Paul, of all observers of American society, may have gotten it more precisely right than anyone. And if you don't believe it, here's a selection of Ron Paul predictions from 2002. Keep in mind, that was almost 25 years ago, and Ron Paul saw it clearly. Watch.
This is wild. This is
Mr.
wild.
Speaker, our government intervention in the economy, the private affairs of citizens, and the internal affairs of foreign countries leads to uncertainty and many unintended consequences. Here are some of the consequences about which we should be concerned. I predict U.S. taxpayers will pay to rebuild Palestine, both the West Bank and the Gaza, as well as Afghanistan. U.S. taxpayers paid to bomb these areas, so we will be expected to rebuild them. Peace of sorts will come to the Middle East, but will be short-lived. There will be big promises of more U.S. money and weapons flowing to Israel and to Arab countries allied with the United States. Federal Reserve policy will continue at an expanding rate with massive credit expansion, which will make the dollar crisis worse. Gold will be seen as an alternative to paper money as it returns to its historic role as money. Military and police powers will grow, satisfying the conservatives. The welfare state, both domestic and international, will expand, satisfying the liberals. Both sides will endorse military adventurism overseas. During the next decade, the American people...
Can I pause it? I mean, are y'all not impressed so far? I want to go back when he's talking specifically about what the conservatives will get, what the liberals will get.
To paper money as it returns to its historic role as money. Military and police powers will grow, satisfying the conservatives. The welfare state, both domestic and international, will expand, satisfying the liberals. Both sides will endorse military adventurism overseas. During the next decade, the American people will become poorer and less free, while they become more dependent on the government for economic security. The war will prove to be divisive, with emotions and hatred growing between the various factions and special interests that drive our policies in the Middle East. Agitation from more class warfare will succeed in dividing us domestically. And believe it or not, I expect lobbyists will thrive more than ever during the dangerous period of chaos. I have no timetable for these predictions, but just in case, keep them around and look at them in 5 to 10 years. Let's hope and pray that I'm wrong on all accounts.
Is that not wild? Is that not wild? I mean, you talk about being spot on. He just understands, and I think it's simple for a lot of us to make certain predictions when we remove, like what we were talking about earlier, the emotions of all this stuff, and just look at like what's in front of us. What's going to happen here? What's going to happen here? And I don't want to take away from how impressive that was, because think about it. That's in 2002. I was a freshman. It was either a freshman or a sophomore, depending on when in 2002 it was. But the level of accuracy that he predicted everything, and it coming to fruition, what, 25, 21 years later? I mean, 24, 25 years later? That's next level. Why are we not listening to him? When you have somebody like that was able to predict the future so accurately, why would we not listen to them now? Why would everybody not be going to Ron Paul and just saying like, yo, what do we need to do? What do we need to do? You predicted all this stuff happening. Now, just because you predicted something doesn't mean that you have the answers, but damn, don't you deserve to at least like have a shot at presenting some sort of solution, presenting the framework for how we can get out of this position that we're in right now? And the problem is, it goes back to exactly, I don't know if I can scroll all the way up to the top, but it goes back to exactly what Finn started off the show with. The further a society drifts from the truth, the more it will hate those who speak it. Nobody, when we're going to look at this Pam Bondi video later, but when it comes to Trump, we've seen Trump with the Epstein files. Nobody believes the government. Nobody believes these politicians. Democrats don't believe in Democrats. Republicans don't believe in Republicans. Now, that will disappear, in my opinion, very quickly, whether it's the midterms or when it's the presidential election, because people will put whatever disappointments they have for their party, their gang affiliate, to the side. They'll put those differences to the side and we'll just look at it. Well, we can't have what's over there. So therefore, all right, y'all got me. I'm back. And that's the reoccurring cycle. That's how we keep getting caught up in it. Rather than us taking a step back and saying, nah, let me see what Ron Paul has. Let me see what Thomas Massey. Let's get behind Thomas Massey and start pushing him like a lot of us were pushing RFK Jr. There's options out here for us. We have choices. We may not like the options. We may not like, hey, we may have to start voting for a third party. But the problem is, you know, we may not win the first time we vote for a third party, may not win the second time, but we may win that third or fourth election. Are we willing to sacrifice? I guess this is why we need that rock bottom moment. We need that rock bottom moment to bring about some urgency, because if we just keep doing the same thing, like, look at things right now. We're on the brink of a war with Iran, who has no issue with us, who has absolutely no issue with us. The only issue that they have with us is that we keep allowing Israel to bully them. Trump was supposed to be the no new wars guy. Russia, Ukraine, they're hitting 1 million people dying. And then they're negotiating at the table the same negotiations they could have had before the 1 million people died. And I know for a lot of us, we hear that number and it's really not that, like, it doesn't hit us in a way that it should. 1 million people are dead for what? Between Russia and Ukraine. We're getting ready to start all these other wars, regime change in Venezuela. We're thinking about taking Greenland, all these different things. And there were a lot of people that, and I think we said this yesterday, a lot of people with that whole Iran energy was like, oh, look, we did the mission in one day. Everybody said we were going to have a war with Iran. I don't hear those people talking now. And I don't hear us holding those people accountable. So, I mean, we are, but, you know, like the outside of this family. So, all right. So I got another video. Let's get into it. I want to show y'all this next video. Is this the one where Tucker goes on and talk? We don't need to hear the rest of Tucker because I don't want him playing games trying to ban us. But I do want y'all to take a look at this next Ron Paul video. And then we'll listen to what, since Tucker mentioned Ben Shapiro earlier in the video, we'll take a look at what Ben Shapiro had to say about people like Ron Paul. And maybe then we'll understand, oh, this is why we can't listen to Ron Paul. It's them boys.
Policy of the past century is deeply flawed. What if our foreign policy of the past century is deeply flawed and has not served our national security interests? What if we wake up one day and realize that the terrorist threat is a predictable consequence of our meddling in the affairs of others and has nothing to do with us being free and prosperous? What if propping up repressive regimes in the Middle East endangers both the United States and Israel? What if occupying countries like Iraq and Afghanistan and bombing Pakistan is directly related to the hatred directed toward us? What if someday it dawns on us that losing over 5,000 American military personnel in the Middle East since 9/11 is not a fair trade-off for the loss of nearly 3,000 American citizens, no matter how many Iraqi, Pakistani, and Afghan people are killed or displaced? What if we finally decide that torture, even if called enhanced interrogation technique, is self-destructive and produces no useful information, and that contracting it out to a third world nation is just as evil? What if it is finally realized that war and military spending is always destructive to the economy? What if all wartime spending is paid for through the deceitful and evil process of inflating and borrowing? What if we finally see that wartime conditions always undermine personal liberty? What if conservatives who preach small government wake up and realize that our interventionist foreign policy provides the greatest incentive to expand the government? What if conservatives understood once again that their only logical position is to reject military intervention and managing an empire throughout the world? What if the American people woke up and understood that the official reasons for going to war are almost always based on lies and promoted by war propaganda in order to serve special interests?
Yo, I always say, don't be a fan of these politicians, right? Don't be a fan. Ron Paul is making it very hard. I like this guy. I like what I'm hearing. Let me not say I like this guy. I don't know enough about him, but I like what I'm hearing. I like what I'm hearing. It comes across as a very, just a good-hearted person who has the interest of America, with also the understanding of having a certain decency, integrity when it comes to how we as America deal with the rest of the world. That's what I'm hearing.
What if we as a nation came to realize that the quest for empire eventually destroys all great nations? What if Obama has no intent?
The quest for empire eventually destroys all great nations. This is colonization. This is imperialism.
Destroys all great nations. What if Obama has no intention of leaving Iraq? What if a military draft is being planned for the wars that will spread if our foreign policy is not changed? What if the American people learn the truth, that our foreign policy has nothing to do with national security, that it never changes from one administration to the next? What if war and preparation for war is a racket serving the special interests? What if President Obama is completely wrong about Afghanistan and turns out worse than Iraq and Vietnam put together? What if Christianity actually teaches peace and not preventive wars of aggression? What if diplomacy is found to be superior to bombs and bribes in protecting America? What happens if my concerns are completely bribes and aggression? What if diplomacy is found to be superior to bombs and bribes in protecting America?
What if diplomacy is found to be superior to bombs and bribes in protecting America? This is what we talk about all the time as far as with war. Now, maybe I'm misinterpreting him, but when I hear this, I hear, why isn't war the crime? Why is war, why is that a valid go-to, like an option for any of us to resolve our problems? And when I say any of us, for any of these countries, why is war an acceptable option? Why isn't diplomacy? Look at what is going on between Ukraine and Russia. And I know I'm preaching to the choir, but when we look at what's going on between Russia and Ukraine, 1 million people have died. And now Zelensky and Putin will come to the negotiation table and have the same conversation that they could have had before one person died. But because of ego, because of whatever else, and because of the people being in power aren't the ones that actually risk their lives, they don't care. War is seen as an option because the people that are sitting behind the pawns, they know that their family members are never going to have to frontline that fight and be a pawn. That's all this stuff. Let's keep it moving. I see you, Glay.
What happens if my concerns are completely unfounded? Nothing. But what happens if my concerns are justified and ignored? Nothing good.
What you think about Ron Paul, Glay? I don't know if you saw the whole video.
Nah, I didn't see the whole joint.
All right, man. Well, you in for a treat. All right. So now that I played y'all those two, I want to. So Ron Paul was in the Epstein files.
Oh my God.
He was in the Epstein files. Now, before I show you that, I want to show you this other video, because before I show y'all him, saying that he was in the Epstein files, I want to show y'all this real quick video. I think Tucker did it, but it just highlights how a guy like Ben Shapiro, who obviously when you're hearing the things that Ron Paul is talking about, like, hey, let's not get involved in all these wars for Israel. Let's not go to Afghanistan. Let's not get involved with, I'm sure what he would be saying right now, or what he is saying right now, is, hey, maybe we shouldn't be dealing with or potentially on the brink of war with Iran. Based on what he's saying here. Let's stop doing all these dealings. Let's stop resorting to war instead of just having conversations and figuring things out. So take a look at this, and then we can get it, because it's good to always get a neocon perspective, one of these neoconservatives. So that's why we every once in a while got to listen to Ben Shapiro's annoying voice or Mark Levin with his tough talk, because he's the toughest guy in the world. But all right, let's get to it.
Here was a young Ben Shapiro live tweeting a Republican debate that year that included Ron Paul. We'll quote selected portions. Quote, "Ron Paul is manifestly insane," wrote a young Ben Shapiro, who somehow got into Harvard. You wonder how. "As in previous debates, he's now gripping the pen as he would the neck of a Jew." Imagine writing that about somebody. Accusing someone of wanting to murder, in fact, strangle to death, quote, a Jew. That's a pretty serious thing to say about a person. In fact, that's slander. And on what basis did a young Ben Shapiro of Harvard, fresh off his deal with Facebook, which he got somehow, on what basis did he make such a claim? Well, on none. Ron Paul never attacked the Jews, has never attacked the Jews. I bet my house Ron Paul has never had an unpleasant thought about the Jews or anyone else. Again, you'll judge for yourself in just a moment. But that played no role in Ben Shapiro's slander. Again, this is December 15th, 2011, Ben Shapiro live tweeting. "Gingrich almost drops his pen. Ron Paul grabs it and wrings it like the neck of a Jew." Rick Perry had the memorable moments of the evening, other than Ron Paul's corpse leaning toward the grave and strangling the Jews.
Glay, I'm starting to realize why people don't rock. Wait, what's going on here?
What's good with him? He got hella energy with the Jews. Like
Jews.
Again, Ron Paul says sentiment is mixed about Israel and taking action against Iran. Does Ron Paul know a Jew? You could go check the transcript. Probably unlikely Ron Paul used the word Jew. He wasn't talking about Jews. He was talking about the nation state of Israel, the secular country with borders and a military and a government and a very sophisticated lobbying arm, of which Ben Shapiro was a part, trying to get the U.S. taxpayer to foot the bill for another one of its wars. It's that simple. And he objected, and everyone else on stage, of course, was for it. Newt Gingrich obediently getting behind Israel, as always. He knows who pays the bills. But Ron Paul, who doesn't really care about money, doesn't believe in fiat money anyway, standing apart, independently saying, I don't think this is a good idea. And Ben Shapiro, among many others, attacking him as an anti-Semite.
I want to hold it there because I'm seeing a lot of comments regarding Ron Paul being in the Epstein files. So let's get to that video. It may surprise y'all. And it seemed like a lot of people were surprised in the comments. However, maybe this is a good, let's just take a look.
Ron Paul was named 42 times in the Epstein files, but it looks like he was one of the only politicians who looks better, not worse, after being named in the Epstein files. Here's one that says, any conceivable candidate, with the exception of Ron Paul, will be friendlier to Israel than the current administration. And Ron Paul has gained ground after a debate in which his refusal to join the Iran war hawks was front and center, pretty much just admitting that he was indeed the best Republican presidential candidate in both 2008 and 2012. But the craziest part is the Epstein files prove that the Ron Paul revolution and liberty movement that started in 2007 is still one of the strongest forces in US politics today, because the Epstein files wouldn't have been released if it weren't for Ron Paul's disciple and successor in Congress, Thomas Massie, proving that the message of liberty is so strong and true that it only takes one free man to defeat an entire empire of lies.
All right, so I got y'all a little bit. He's in the Epstein files, but he's one of the only people that him being in the Epstein files is actually highlighting him in a good way. So like he's in the Epstein files because they're talking about him like, yeah, Ron Paul, he won't be aligned with the war hawks, or he won't support Israel and everything. It's like, yo, it actually did him a good service.
He looked like that guy.
He looks like the guy. So for a lot, that's why I cut off the previous video, because I saw some people in the comments like Samira. I think Samira was like, oh my God, I'm tired of this. You know what I mean? With everybody that it's like, damn, everybody's in the Epstein files. You can't like anybody. But this was more on the positive side. So I did, play it a little bit. But y'all, you know what I'm saying? But Ron Paul, bro, he one of them ones.
Okay. Big business type shit.
All the way in the building.
Big business type shit. So what? So he basically... He wasn't going for nothing.
He's not with the wars. He's not with us getting bullied by Israel. He's not with us getting involved in all these foreign affairs. He's not with war. He's not with, us fighting these wars, killing. He's with diplomacy. Let me ask this question. And I was voting and Glay, I think you were voting 2008, 2012.
Yeah, that's when my president is black. My Mambo is blue.
What drew us away from Ron Paul?
Is that who was running?
He was running on the Republican side.
Nigga, I don't even remember that.
Me neither.
Damn. I had no idea who he was running against. Now, think about it.
I think, what was the first one? Mitt Romney? No, the second one was Mitt Romney. Barack ran against Mitt Romney the second time because I remember that's when he had the debates. So the first time, I don't know. Let me see who was in the field with Ron Paul. Y'all get to it faster. Y'all can answer it. Let me see who was in the field.
Yeah,
Who did Ron Paul run against for president? I want to know who was in the field with my boy. Well, I guess 2012 would have been Mitt Romney. Let's see who was 2008. Hold on. Can I get the AI? Yeah. Where you at? Google? Oh, man, now I gotta go. Oh, yeah. And it's funny. I was getting Claude. We were talking about Claude, this new AI. I was getting Claude.
I heard about Claude.
Yeah. So we were talking about it yesterday on the show because Mama Lay was saying that her daughter rocks with Claude. And then, of course, since we're talking about it, then on my X timeline yesterday, I was getting all these Claude alerts. So,
yeah, Claude, I heard, is definitely the wave.
Yeah. So, all right. So he ran in 1988 with the Libertarian Party. He was actually the nominee for president. So he was the Libertarian Party's nominee for president, and he ran against George H.W. and Michael Dukakis. I've heard that name before. Then in 2008, that was a year after I was born. All right, so in 2008, he ran for the Republican nomination, but did not advance to the general election. That's when he was going against John McCain, and then Mitt Romney, Mike Huckabee, Rudy Giuliani, Fred Thompson, Duncan Hunter. But the main person was John McCain. And then actually in the general election, so even when he lost against McCain, he refused to endorse McCain and instead supported third-party candidates like Chuck Baldwin. Sounds like he stands on business.
Yeah, he ain't fucking with nobody.
In his final run, Paul again sought the Republican nomination, and he went against Mitt Romney. and a bunch of others. But the reason why I'm asking that is, and this is not to tear down anybody, any particular group. I'm not coming for the boomers. I'm not coming for anybody. But I just want us to sit back and think, why were we not aware of Ron Paul? Why were we, like, just like we can sit back and say, damn, Ron Paul was right on all of this stuff. We, all of us, we have to take a step and we have to understand where were we? Where was our headspace to where we did not give Ron Paul a real chance? And I'm talking about the people that didn't vote for him. Was it just because he was a Republican? Was it just because he was a libertarian? Oh, he may be the best candidate, but because he's not a part of my particular gang, I don't even know about him, or I'm not even going to entertain him. I'm not going to take him. I'm not going to consider him as an option for voting for president. Where were we in our mindset, in our headspace, to where we wouldn't even know about him, Gleb? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I think we were 18 at the time or 19. Obviously, I can understand how we wouldn't really be aware because we were still indoctrinated with the whole Democrat or die stuff. You know, this was
Vote or
this,
die.
I was talking about earlier. This was the whole Diddy energy, vote or die.
Yeah, vote or die.
All that emotional energy. If either vote for Barack Obama or you're racist and you want our young kids to die. That was the energy. That was the energy. Vote for Barack Obama or you're a racist and you want young Americans to die.
Fear mongering, like you said.
That was it, bro.
Is that what the other side does too?
Both.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, like, vote Republican or the Somalians will take over.
Yeah. And I played another clip of Nick Fuentes yesterday. I'm not playing another clip of Nick today. Played a clip of Nick yesterday.
What Critical Thinking was in the building? What the fuck?
Critical was in the building. And I didn't even know Critical was in the building because he changed it. Critical's here now.
Oh, what's his name?
Critical, Randy. It's Randy on here. But Critical stepped out for a second and popped back in with some great insight. So it's all good. But the point that Nick was making on that video, and I almost wish that Critical was listening to it. But the point that Nick was making on that video is that this whole Turning Point USA Super Bowl type of event, all you heard was people crying. He's like, I don't like hearing white people crying about and playing victim about, oh, I can't live my life because of this, or I can't go catch my fish and drink my beer because it was given that same victim energy. He's like, yo, I don't like this. Yeah. So it's both sides do the same thing. Both sides. And it really depends on just what position you're in. And it seems like we forget that both sides do the same thing just based on because they're in different positions. So right now, the Republicans are in a position where their backs are against the wall. Donald Trump's in office. They're not delivering on anything. So a lot of them are, I don't know, I guess in this position, we're trying to like on defense a little bit more. So now because Donald Trump's in office, the Democrats can go more on offense, but it just kind of flips either way. And it's like, okay, they're winning a little bit. Okay, we need to rally up our audience. We need to rally up our base. How do we do it? Okay, we can try the energetic, positive, or I don't know about positive, but aggressive approach. But then when that's not working, it's like, all right, we need to just play victims. Let's just go back to the fear mongering. We need to go back to the victimhood. We're disaffected. America's not taking care of us. This isn't fair. And then you start to hear the victimhood on both sides. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of bitch assness from them. The approach don't make no sense. Yeah, the vote or die. It's crazy. I wonder if black people are as educated. I know I was ignorant for a while as to know that Obama wasn't the guy you want. I don't know if that message ever made it to the black community.
You mean like even up until this point right now?
Yeah, like Obama pull up like he was out here not doing what he was doing.
Well, you heard what Obama said when he was trying to convince black men to vote for Kamala, and he was calling out the brothers. I'm talking to the brothers. A lot of y'all just don't want to vote for a woman or a black woman. Like, you know, he started using that type of energy like, hold up, bruh. You're the reason why we're not just voting black just because. Because we actually look back at a lot of things that you were pushing. It seems like you were more aligned with the LGBTQ energy than anything to do with black people. You just use black people like other Democrats have used black people. The most positive thing that Barack Obama did, and this may change in the future, I don't know, I hope it doesn't, is he just didn't get in any scandals.
Yeah,
that we know of, that have really been out there like that.
Yeah.
That's the most positive thing that he did. It's just like he did, because if he would have went up there acting a fool, then it would have made us look crazy. But he's still acting a fool, but just in different ways. But you wouldn't understand it unless you're really into politics, I think.
Yeah. I just feel like the community, I don't know if they tapped in, bro. I still hear, I was on the radio station yesterday just hearing niggas talk about I guess Trump was going at, you know how Trump be going at niggas, still he be going, and it was about the little monkey thing, the little animated thing over. Did we ever talk about that?
We never talked about that. Hold on. We never talked about that. And I actually, hold on, we completely, I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, yo, how did I put that as the thumbnail?
Oh shit.
And we never even talked about it. I have it in here somewhere. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. If not, I'll pull it up a different way. Hold on.
Andy said, I don't know. He was drone bombing civilians. That's kind of a scandal.
A scandal to Americans. It's not a scandal to Americans, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And most people aren't aware of that. Like when I talk to most Democrats about Barack Obama dropping drone bombs, they're like not aware of it.
Yeah,
very similar to when he was the quote unquote deporter in chief. You know, like nobody really is aware of these type of things, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So it's yeah.
But I was I was driving, and then they was like, you know, I guess this might jog your memory to give me an explanation of what was going on. But I guess there's a governor or a mayor in Georgia that didn't get invited to Trump's annual, maybe like a ball he has.
Oh, Governor of Maryland. Was it Wes Moore? I think what's Wes' last name?
It might have been there. It was a black dude who doesn't fuck with Trump, and then Trump specifically invited everybody but him. And so they was going back and forth or whatsoever. And then I guess I don't know how your boy got invited into the conversation. I don't know how what's his name got entered the chat, but then they was talking about Obama, and I was like, yo, the way the black community speaks about Obama, like they still hype that he was like playing basketball at 6 a.m. Like it just was so easy to bamboozle the community. And to this day, I don't think, like you said, I don't think niggas know anything about any of the policies. I knew I didn't for a while. And now I'm a little bit more in tune with, you know, what his presidency looked like, but he just made it look so, I guess you could say, good, for a lack of a better word, to the community, that this nigga done came and gone and they still tapped in with him. Like he pull up like he's still the president in the black community.
I think you can learn a lot about a black person based on what their thoughts are on Barack Obama.
Yeah.
And I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
I think you could just learn a lot. Now, I'm not saying that anybody who supports Barack Obama is an idiot. I'm not saying all these things. But I think you just learn a lot about how somebody sees the world based on how they see Barack Obama. You know, if you're black.
Yeah.
But let me pull this up on the screen. So this was that video you talking about. And we got a bunch of other stuff to get to, so I don't even want to spend too much time on this stuff. But
in the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps.
Hey yo.
In the jungle, the quiet jungle, the lion sleeps.
If you remove this part, I'm just saying. I didn't know that other people were. That's my first time seeing the video.
Mine too.
That's my first time seeing it.
All I've seen niggas do is clip this one part right here.
Yeah, this 2 seconds. Yeah,
and just viral.
I didn't even see this other monkey flying in. Now, where do I want to go with this one?
Yeah, I'm interested to get your live feedback on it because I know where I stand with this shit.
All right, so this you put in Barack and Michelle as monkeys, you already know what time it is, right? You know the deal when it comes to black people being called monkeys and all that other stuff. Now, people call you whatever you want. You know, if you get a reaction, you get a reaction. If it wasn't for this, like if it wasn't for this opening with Barack and Michelle as the monkeys, then it probably, I don't think it would be as big of a deal.
It wouldn't hit. It wouldn't hit.
It wouldn't hit the same. It wouldn't hit the same. This, nah, bro. Like, now let me be very clear. Is this inappropriate in my opinion? Yes. Do I care? No. I'm just being real. You know what I mean? Like, does it make me look at Trump any differently?
It says somebody on his team sent it, but
nah, that's what made me look at Trump differently.
When he ain't stand on it.
Yeah, when you don't stand on it, that's what makes me look at you differently. If you're gonna put up a video, then stand on it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So that's what makes me look at like you're corny because you didn't have the heart to put it up in the first place. You know what I mean? If you're gonna take it down, then don't try to act, oh, my team did this, my team did that. No, stand on it. Even if your team did put it up, I would have respected you more if you would have just rocked with it like you put it up and just acknowledged, yo, it was inappropriate. I shouldn't have put it up. Let's just leave it at that. You know what I mean? It was inappropriate. My apologies. Shouldn't have put it up.
Yeah.
Leave it at that. Or like, what's the point of taking it down if you think that it's appropriate?
Yeah, just let it
rock. So clearly you thought it was inappropriate as well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Other than this opener, you know, I guess people would say, well, nah, they got Hakeem Jeffries in the monkey joint. If I was Hillary, I'd be upset. but this was the joint so they got Biden eating so it's like now they can get away with saying it wasn't just the black people.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
He got the baboon nose. Is that what that is?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, I didn't see that one.
Who is that?
Oh,
who is that?
I don't know. Yo,
I feel like this is a violation. I don't know who this is.
This is probably worse than the black kid at the beginning.
I don't know about that, but I'm sure she may feel sometimes. I would be more upset. This probably hurts more. I don't know what's more offensive, but if I was this person, I feel like they're having a worse day. Just because it seems like maybe they're trying to make fun of
her size.
Yeah, like because it looks.
But it's like she in a fruit, like she's in a basket of fruit, but then
I don't know half these people. Well, no, I do know. There's a few people. I saw AOC in there, Chuck Schumer. I see Gavin Newsom. They even got Whoopi in here. All right, yeah, we're not gonna spend any more time on that. If you take it down, apologize, and if you don't want to apologize, don't take it down. Leave it up there. Leave it up there. Stand on whatever you're standing on. Stand on it. Let it be known, player. All right, let's move on. All right, so I got a bunch of stuff that I want to get your opinion on. Where do I want to go? All right. Let's go over here. So this is an exchange between Eric Lee and John Pilger. Interesting conversation comparing America to China. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look.
In America, you can change political parties, but you can't change policies. In China, you cannot change the party, but you can change policies.
So in that time, China ceased to be communist. Is that what you're saying?
Well, China is a market economy, and it's a vibrant market economy, but it is not a capitalist country. Here's why. There's no way a group of billionaires could control the Politburo as billionaires control American policymaking. So in China, you have a vibrant market economy, but capital does not rise above political authority. Capital does not have enshrined rights. In America, capital, the interest of capital and capital itself has risen above the American nation. The political authority cannot check the power of capital. And that's why America is a capitalist country, but China is not.
Yo, when he breaks it down like that, I've never heard the reasoning or an explanation for communism like that.
I might want to hear it one more time.
You want me to run it back?
Yeah, so I can.
I got
you. And then you might have to break that joint down.
I got you.
In America, you can change political parties, but you can't change the policies. In China, you cannot change the party, but you can change policies.
So in that time, China ceased to be communist. Is that what you're saying?
Well, China is a market economy, and it's a vibrant market economy, but it is not a capitalist country. Here's why. There's no way a group of billionaires could control the Politburo as billionaires control American policymaking. So in China, you have a vibrant market economy, but capital does not rise above political authority. Capital does not have enshrined rights. In America, capital, the interest of capital and capital itself has risen above the American nation. The political authority cannot check the power of capital. And that's why America is a capitalist country, but China is not. So in the 65 or 66 years, China is being run by one single party, yet the political changes that have taken place in China in this past 66 years have been wider and broader and greater than probably any other major country in modern memory.
I've never had it broken down like that.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so in America, that is the problem with capitalism. Money runs everything. So once you get the biggest bag, you run the politicians, you run the government. So it's almost like another form of, like, you become king. Cash is king, bro. So it's really a dictatorship, but the dictatorship is based on a race for finances. If I can come in, and the problem with that is you don't even have to be American. You can come in as Elon Musk, come from another country, but you got a big bag of money. You can control the politicians. You could be Miriam Adelson. What do we always talk about with the Israeli lobbies? You know what I'm saying? You can control a country without being out there, having to put yourself out there as the king or queen of a country. You can control it just with capital. Compared to, I guess that's kind of how it would have to be, the alternative with, if the money doesn't control it, then you got to make sure the government controls it.
The government. Damn, which is it, more of the lesser of two evils decision?
I think I think it's like most things. We need a healthy balance.
Yeah.
We need a healthy balance. Because you can't, in a capitalist society, it's not realistic to think that the people with the money aren't going to run everything.
Yeah, that wouldn't
make
sense.
You know what I mean? But also the government having too much control, that's going to be a problem.
That's going to
be I don't know if that leans me, so I think those were some of the things that even Andy was talking about earlier when he was just bringing up some of his hesitations with being a part of like the libertarian movement. But one thing that I will say is that the libertarians that I come into contact with, or not come into contact with, but I watch their content, like a Dave Smith, or looking at like a Thomas Massey who comes from that tree. They seem to make a lot of sense. Now, I'm not saying I agree with everything. I haven't even researched them enough, to say what I like and don't like. But when I typically hear them speak, and maybe it's just in this messed up current state of politics, but they seem to be making a lot more sense than everybody else. And they seem to be willing to call out Israel, call out Big Pharma, call out the not elites, we're not calling them elites anymore, call out a lot of these rich folks that are running stuff in ways that both Democrats and Republicans aren't willing to. So that's kind of how I look at it.
Okay.
But we got a bunch of other stuff to cover. I want to move into education, if that's cool with you, Glad. Matter of fact, before we move into education, this was a dope video. I'm sure you've seen the one guy. Is this Harold and Kumar? Hold on. I think this is the one from Harold and Kumar. This guy, right? He's from Harold and Kumar.
Oh, it looks familiar, yeah.
I think he's that, the White Castle.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but the interesting conversation nonetheless. All right, let's
Meaning I'm not a single issue voter, but in the next presidential election, people are going to have to be held accountable about how do they feel about the universality of human rights.
I just know a lot of people that were at the DNC in Chicago that were part of this movement called Undecided Voters.
Yes.
And they were protesting the war.
Yeah.
And the United States' involvement in the war.
Yes.
And the way the city planning was is that you had the United Center and they were sent miles away.
Yeah.
And I remember as a young kid being at the mosque and he's now passed away, is a congressman named Vic Fazio.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, you know what the problem with you people is? And I was like, I'm a little offended by the fact that you call us you people. But he's like, you guys don't get involved.
Uh-huh.
The moment you get involved, we as your representatives will have to hear you.
Yeah.
And I saw just all these people protesting in the park. These are people that you send your kids to high school with that go to fucking DePaul University. We're talking about pre-med majors. These are just like regular people.
Yeah.
Not this kind of stuff that gets hijacked by the discourse.
Yeah.
Just normal, everyday Americans protesting this war. And they were sent miles away from the DNC. You couldn't hear them.
Yeah.
That signaled to me, I don't want to hear it.
Correct.
I don't want to hear you.
Yes.
I don't want to see what you have to say.
Right.
And I'm not going to create a path for you to even communicate with us.
That's right.
It was, 96 straight hours of people talking at the DNC.
Yeah.
We're not going to give you a slot to speak.
Correct.
So,
and so my understanding of this is, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Glay, is he's referring to a lot of the young Democrats who were protesting against what's happening in Palestine, the genocide, and he's saying that a lot of these young people were pushed away by Kamala and Biden. And the reason why I look at it is because we know that both sides are controlled by Israel. So, and if the Democrats bring young Democrats to the table and now they're interrupting Charlie Kirk Turning Point USA events like how a lot of the young groypers do and call out our involvement, how is this America first if we're putting Israel first? But now the young Democrats are doing it on their side where they're saying like, yo, why aren't we speaking up for Palestine? Why aren't we addressing this? Why are we still allowing ourselves to be controlled by Israel? But what we sometimes forget is that Israel and AIPAC, they're giving a lot of money to those Democrats as well. So those Democrats are scared to speak out of pocket because they can get primaried, just like a lot of them have been primaried for not supporting Israel and for speaking out against the genocide in Palestine. So that's where a lot of that disconnect may continue to happen. And just like within the Republican Party, how there'll be certain splits within the Democratic Party. That's kind of how I'm hearing it so far, but we can keep going if you want.
Yeah.
Not even one slot.
yeah. So
Right.
for me, again, as like a comedian, satirist, all that sort of stuff, I can't tell people what they should do with their vote.
Yeah.
Because I witnessed with my own eyes people that were trying to engage.
Yeah. I help out the college Dems. I'm on their advisory board.
Yeah.
And at some point, I can't remember the month, but I saw that they wrote this op-ed that was very critical of Harris and Biden in the Washington Post around Gaza. and around Youth Vote in Gaza. And I called them and I was like, hey, I'm super curious about what the meetings were like with the White House that led you to the place where you as college Dems in their own party felt the need to publicly write that letter. Fantastic letter. I'm so glad you guys wrote it. But what was the conversation like before? Because I've been having conversations with them too, and they go nowhere, right? And it's clear they're not interested. What was it like for you? And they said, we didn't have any conversations with them. They wouldn't even reach back out to us to have a meeting.
Right.
So I'm like, so Biden and Harris refused to even meet with the college Democrats of America, one of the backbones of youth engagement on college campuses when you're trying to win an election and even in off years.
Yeah.
And it led them to have to publicly write a letter to the Washington Post. Like, the Democratic Party needs a real realignment of its core values and looking at what young people actually care about. And multiple things can be true. We can stand up for human rights and against anti-Semitism. Like, these false conversations that are being created around it are shocking, I think, to a lot of people. And so
And I wanted to stop it because, damn, I lost my train of thought. My fault. Matter of fact, super chat first. My fault. I saw you put that up.
Yes, Pennsatucky,
Pennsatucky,
2862 with the 129 for the super chat. Thank you so much.
Where are you checking in from? Where are you checking in from? Because I see.
Yeah, I didn't even see. She didn't say any words, so I guess it's just love. It's just off the strength. We appreciate that for sure. We appreciate that super chat.
Dope.
And you tuning in for sure.
So thank you for that. Salute. So what I'm hearing with him is that the same way that they did those young college Democrats, that's exactly how they did Ice Cube. Remember when Ice Cube put together that plan and the Democrats, he presented it he said, hey, I want to meet with the Democrats. I don't want to meet with the Republicans. This is before the election. Put together the plan for Black America, I think it was called. And the Republicans, and Trump was the only group that, like, his administration was the only people that would meet with him. The Democrats said, oh no, we'll talk to you after the election. So then when Ice Cube met with Trump and them, everybody got mad and turned their back on Ice Cube. And he was like, yo, I tried to present it to them. They said they didn't want to hear it until after the election. So, but it's the same thing. But people were getting mad at Ice Cube instead of getting mad at the Democrats. And this is the same type of energy where here you had the young Democrats forced to write a letter, pretty much exposing the fact like, hey, they're keeping us out of here. We don't like the direction of where they're going. They're not allowing us to be a part of this process. They had to do all that. It's clearly, it's one of those things where you have to discuss something that it's almost like how Trump's administration is talking about the Epstein files now, how they sound crazy talking about it because they know damn well that they were saying other things before it, but now that it's time to release it, they're hesitant. And I just see the same thing occurring with the Democrats. They act like, oh yeah, we're standing up for Palestine, but when it actually comes down to it, you're actually not, because then you're scared that a lot of the money that you get would be exposed, and you know damn well that money that you get, you're not going to get it anymore if you start aligning with a lot of these younger Democrats that are going to be calling out what's going on with Palestinians. So that's kind of how I'm seeing it. But we could finish it up. Hold on. Did we have no, that was there. All right, let me keep going. We'll finish this one up.
Looks like she tapped in from Czech Republic.
Czech. All right, I saw the CZK. That's what I was like, all right, yeah. That's dope, man. Appreciate you checking in. Appreciate the support.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for joining in.
Definitely. All right, let's finish up this.
Your example of that is spot on, and it's what I experienced in talking to a lot of these folks who were organizing. It's like you said, the people at the DNC were just put.
Yeah, I saw it with my own eyes, and so it was one of those things where I go, I can't, in good conscience, tell anybody how they should vote, right, because those people were doing, like I said, everything they tell you to do in civics class.
Yeah,
actively engage, peaceful protest, write your member of Congress. You know, offer up a channel of dialogue. Like, it was all just outright rejection.
I mean, you saw this with Zoran too. Schumer didn't even endorse him, right? Like, mainstream Dems, Hakeem endorsed him, 3 days before?
About 3 minutes before.
Unenthusiastically.
3 minutes while you were in line.
Right.
Yeah.
So it only matters, only support the nominee if it's the right looking nominee.
So he said Chuck Schumer never endorsed it. Everybody knows Chuck Schumer. He basically is, when it comes to Israel, he's Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro, or Randy Fine, however you want to look at it, for just on the Democrat side. That's who he is.
Mm-hmm.
He's Ted Cruz, just as a Democrat. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Let's hold on. I wanted to. All right. If you don't have anything on that one, I wanted to introduce this guy. Are you familiar with James Fishback?
No, haven't seen
All
him.
right. So James Fishback, I believe he's running actually against Byron Donalds in Florida.
Oh.
I believe he's running for governor. Is running for governor. I believe he's running for governor. He's an American investor, hedge fund manager, and political candidate. He's the founder and CEO of Vazoria Partners, an investment firm. He's a Republican candidate for nomination in the 2026 Florida gubernatorial election. So he's running for governor against Byron. You know Byron Donalds? So Byron Donalds, I don't know. Well, I'm sure y'all are familiar with him. He's a black guy, probably one of the most gifted, in my opinion, politicians out there. When it comes to just how he's able to speak, he's very gifted, in my opinion. A lot of people don't like him because he's a black Republican. Whatever comes with that. There's been different things. But let me just focus on James Fishback. He's running against Byron Donalds.
Okay. He like your boy JD Vance.
Huh?
He like polished
Byron.
like JD Vance.
It's funny that you said that, because in my mind, yesterday when I was watching this and I was thinking about Byron, I was like, yo, he may have actually been better than JD Vance in a lot of these areas when it comes to specifically being for Trump. I actually think Byron would, like, where JD splits on Trump on a lot of things, even with Israel and certain things, I think Byron in a lot of ways would be more beneficial for Trump if he was his vice president over JD Vance in a lot of ways. But I think JD Vance is very skilled. But I think that Byron is a bit more relatable, maybe a lot more relatable than JD Vance. But I just think that he's just I would hold him a little bit higher than JD as of right now. Now, saying all that, Byron Donalds is running against James Fishback.
Okay.
As of right now, if I was to vote today, I would vote for James Fishback.
Oh, the guy that you just said was a super skill.
Byron Donalds, black guy. This is Byron.
Yeah, I just looked him up.
Yeah, black guy, super, bro, high level politician. I'm going with James Fishback. If I was to vote today, I would go with James Fishback. Well, I like his energy more. I'm not doing all that. You see, and I guess for a lot of people, this is just another example. All that black stuff, look, bro. Like that's the most meaningless thing when it comes to me, when it comes to who I'm voting for. I'm not getting tricked ever again like that.
Who was the first trick?
Barack. Okay. I'm not getting tricked again. And it just doesn't make any sense. This guy, James Fishback, bro, he's the one, like how we talked about earlier, how everybody hates Ron Paul and everybody hates people who expose the truth. He gives off that energy. I don't know a lot about him. I probably only watched maybe a handful of videos on him, and I would still go him over Byron. And the fact that Donald Trump is supporting Byron, and I got to look into the AIPAC money that's going to Byron. I think that Byron, I'm not
compromised.
I'm not with that. Yeah, he's compromised.
Gotcha.
Compromised. All right, let's get to the video.
All 50 states would block Elon Musk from teaching a high school physics class. Think about that. All 50 states, Republican or Democrat, would prevent him from teaching high school physics to 14-year-olds, even though he lands reusable rockets and mass produces electric vehicles, because he does not have a government-issued teaching certificate. That is everything you need to know about what is broken in education in America. And if we want to make education great again, let's start by inviting the tens of thousands of retirees, retired doctors, nurses, airline pilots, engineers, chemists, statisticians. Invite them to our local public high schools, our charter schools, wherever, and allow them to teach classes in their field of study. So many of them want to give back to our country. They wouldn't even charge. They just want to inspire and educate the next generation of young men and women in our country. Let's do that. Let's get the teachers' unions out of this monopolistic control of our education. Let's have the next Elon Musk, who is sitting in a classroom right now, be inspired by this Elon Musk. Come in the classroom, invite retirees, invite them to not just educate, but to motivate. These abstract concepts like math and physics and chemistry can be made more accessible by professionals who have spent 30, 40 years in these fields of study. Coming into the classroom and breathing new life into American education will make education great again and America great again in the process.
Bro, what do we always talk about? Whether it's college or high school. What do we always talk about? Why are people teaching us stuff that they've never done themselves? You're teaching me something that you've never actually applied in the real world. Why don't you manage the education? If you're a teacher, whether you're elementary, middle school, high school, college, why don't you look at your job as, instead of just you being the sole teacher, as a manager of the learning experience of that child throughout that year?
Like a liaison.
Bring on as many different experts as you possibly can.
Yeah.
And what it's also going to do, it's going to help you learn. Because a lot of the things that you're teaching us, whether it's in college or before that, there's no real world experience to connect it to. It's like, why am I listening to you rather than just going on YouTube and listening to somebody in real time who's actually doing exactly what I want to do?
Yeah, I like his approach. I like it. It sounds good. If it ain't no cap, because I always look at the politician with one eye open, one eye closed. But Fishback, I like it. Make America great again. Or,
oh shoot! And you put up a my fault. I didn't mean that. I was putting up Uluwehi's. If you wanted to highlight that other comment.
No, it was good. While it was playing, it looked like a good comment.
Okay.
Up there, yeah.
Okay, because I wanted to address Uluwehi. This guy is idealistic. Have you seen the kids and the way they act? Ain't nobody want to retire and teach our kids. I get the joke, but I think a lot of people would come back and want to teach our kids. And perhaps the way that a lot of our kids are acting, perhaps a lot of that is based on the education that they're getting and how they're learning. If you bring an Elon Musk into a school, if you bring somebody with some real world experience,
the line to be out the door.
Come on now. These
the
kids
might pull up.
Yeah, it's no wonder the kids are acting up. What are they learning?
Yeah.
Glay, what's the most valuable thing that you learned in elementary school?
I guess my ABCs and 1, 2, 3s.
What's the most valuable thing that you learned in middle school and high school? I don't know.
Like all the shit outside the classroom.
Yeah, it's all stuff outside the classroom. And what we end up doing is, and what a lot of people may not realize with school is, okay, we always talk about how these are some of the our most impressionable years where we're sponges, we're able to learn so many different things. Why are we not taking advantage of those years and actually forcing our teachers, and maybe it's just us taking on that role, doing more homeschooling, taking on more of that role, but actually educating our kids, bro. Like getting them excited about certain things. Kids will get excited about certain things. I remember there were certain things in school that I was actually excited about, but the majority of it is like I'm just learning this to try to pass a test. Holocaust for the entire. I knew you were laughing at something. I'm like, yo, what? I'm like, hey, what? Like, am I talking crazy? Like,
nah.
I'm over here like, yo, why he laughing at me like that? Like,
yo, Blue N9 MP, bro, y'all crazy, man. No cap.
Yeah, I don't even think he's joking.
No cap.
Yeah.
But Abu Han said, "Ha, try teaching 25." Hey, and Abu Han, I'm not saying like
hold on, what?
Abu Han said, nah, try teaching in 2025. Like, basically, maybe reiterating, like, it ain't that easy. Abu Han, we're not here to tell you what it is and what it isn't. We're just saying this is a solution.
Hold up. Are you a teacher?
I don't know. He was given the energy.
Yeah, Abu Han, I need to be very clear. Please answer ASAP so we can respond accordingly.
See, you're going to
Are
double
you a
down. Niggas looking to double down on it. See? But no, but
like, if you are, I'm immediately calling for your fire. Now, let me stop. You're the if you, I'm just being real. That's the type of teacher we need up out of here. If a teacher has that mindset, oh my God, teaching these kids in 2025.
That's tough. Yeah.
I'm not sure you in the right place, baby.
Yeah.
Or we need to maybe refresh the leadership. Because if we have unmotivated teachers.
Yeah, he a teacher. Oh, see, I'm going to head out.
Abu Han.
Oh, I'm out.
Abu Han. You know how we always talk about looking internally rather than externally, placing blame on some kids? If you can't keep a kid interested, that's a you problem. That's not the kids. The kids are kids. If you can't keep a kid interested and locked in and engaged, it's because what you're teaching them is not interesting. And you probably wouldn't be engaged with it either. If somebody was sitting back teaching you the same way that you're teaching those kids. It is your obligation to make it fun, to make it an experience, to be the exciting teacher. Matter of fact, it should be easier now maybe than before, because with all this type of energy out here, it should be easy to be the standout teacher that everybody loves. But if you're going into it with the mindset of, damn, try teaching these kids in 2020, what's the problem with the kids now? What exactly is the problem with the kids? What we're seeing, and I'm not trying to just pick on you, Abu Han, but if teachers, if let's look at it like this, because I see Mama Lay wrote that the tablets are a problem. Let's say that the kids are messed up. If your mindset is try teaching these kids in 2025, perhaps as currently constructed, you just don't have the skill set to teach those kids. And there's nothing wrong with that, because we all need to work on how do we present something, right? We're all salespeople. I'm a salesperson. A teacher is probably a salesperson and doesn't look at themselves as a salesperson, but you are probably the highest level of salesperson. You have to convince your kids how to buy into this product that you're selling them, how to get them engaged in embracing this particular way of teaching that you're going about, what this subject that you're teaching. There's ways to make things very interesting. I remember sitting down when I was doing my substitute teaching that I used to do, even when I was playing ball. I remember substitute teaching, and I was in Mr. Jackson's class, Randy Jackson. I remember the name vividly, at the Rand School in Montclair, New Jersey. I was sitting there with my young boy, Umair, and he was going over this history class where he stopped and he said, he pointed at the flag in the classroom and he said, all y'all pledged allegiance today, right? Didn't y'all pledge allegiance? Everybody said, yeah. And he said, why? He said, and then he asked us a question and he said, would you ever see a Jewish person pledging allegiance to a Nazi flag? And he said, so why are y'all black kids pledging allegiance to that flag? And it was just a conversation starter that got us engaged. That's not necessarily the direction that the conversation went, but it was just something that I'm sitting there on the edge of my seat, raising my hand, involved in this 6th grade history class. You know what I'm saying? It was an engaging classroom that I was actually excited to, because I was following one of the students around. I was actually excited whenever, yo, we got history today. And they were engaged. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a crazy experience, because you don't typically see kids engaged in something like that and learning it in that particular way. So I'm just saying, we need teachers. If you're a teacher that's going to blame kids, then perhaps you shouldn't be a teacher, or you should be. What other option is there, Glay? It's too important of a position to be teaching our kids to have people there who don't feel like they're capable of doing it. It's no knock on you. But just like when we're playing sports, shout out to Phyllis, I'm going to use a sports analogy. Glay, if I can't make the tackle, I can't be in the game. It's not a personal thing.
Yeah.
But if I can't make the play, then I can't be in the game because now I'm hurting my team. I'm hurting my teammates because I'm not able to fulfill my role. If you're a teacher and you can't fulfill your role of teaching the kids based on the environment, based on society, based on the kids, those can be real things. Just like in a game, somebody could be just too fast for me to cover. I can't go to the coach and say, Coach, leave me in, but he's too fast. No, we need to put somebody else in who can actually guard him. It's very simple. So either I work on my game and I figure out a way to cover this person, or I have to allow somebody else to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. You can hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it looks like parents today throw their kid a tablet instead of parenting and then blame the teacher when they don't act right.
But that's a different conversation. I believe that parents first and foremost should be their kids' number one teacher.
Yeah.
So I'm 100% with you on that note. So yeah, you have no pushback from me regarding that. Parents need to do better. Period.
Yeah. But you know, like you said, I do think like the approach gotta be like, have y'all ever just met a positive person? Like somebody who may be in a very difficult situation that isn't ideal. They're not necessarily seeing the results they want, but every day they wake up, they're just so excited to be alive and they're just so happy to be able to even have an attempt to swing the bat. And I think that is very important with the children, regardless of the behavior. I still remember the teachers that showed up with a smile, even though some of these cats in the class was wilding out. But I think one of the first things before we even focus on curriculum and teaching them information, and I'm not even talking to Abuhan at this point, I'm just talking in general, but I can recall the importance of just wanting to and being like, just understanding that you may have to teach the kids emotional control. You know what I'm saying? How to go into a class that you may not enjoy, but have the right mindset going into it. Like these things to me can be very, very important. And honestly, these are life lessons that can be more important than anything you're going to teach them in the book. You know damn well what you're teaching in the book in hindsight probably is not going to necessarily, may not made an immediate impact or even a down the road impact. And I've been seeing a lot of people speak about screens and laptops and iPads. And I just want to let a lot of people know, guys, the world ain't confining to nothing different. This is 2026. Your kids will have iPads, your kids will have computers, but every time there's innovation and change doesn't mean the only thing that we hyper or focused on is the negative, how it can be used. Because of tablets, because of social media, because of TikTok, a lot of information is able to spread at a pace that those old ass encyclopedias that your lazy ass was not going to the library to read and now able to read. Half the information we're able to get now moves at a light speed. If we were waiting on y'all to read books and pass down what y'all read to y'all's kids, we'd still be trying to figure out how to start fires in the fucking woods. So innovation is the key. There's groups of people that look at screens, tablets, and all these things and utilize them to be able to be more educated. So we can't always say like, all the technology, it's the screens. No. It's not the screens. It's how you use the screens. It's how you position the screens. You know what I mean? We went to college. What's the first thing they gave us freshman year, Dak, when we went to college? Laptop. That's just the way of the world. Like, guys, we're not reading encyclopedias no more. It doesn't work like that. So it's about how do we structure education and not keep it so goddamn prehistoric in this day and age. Hey, maybe knowing that the attention of children seems to be, I saw critical said you have to be able to teach things in 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Well, look, that's a real result. Like what you're stating is real.
And I don't agree with that. I want to be clear on it, but go ahead. I don't agree with that.
And what I'm saying by that is like, look, you can learn if people's attention spans are different, then the way that you present the education may have to switch up. So if that's just the way that things are, then you can create segments. There's a lot of things I've learned within business, within politics, within religion that have been short spots and et cetera, et cetera. And no, I may not have an extensive understanding in those spaces, but it gives me a general understanding. And then I do my deeper dive when I lean into that stuff or want to enjoy that stuff. So we got to embrace these things that are around us, guys. They're not going away. Like, when y'all are all said and done, like, they're still going to be here. So it's how do we build structure around these things? You know what I mean? Schools are providing laptops, and colleges and high schools or high schools are providing iPads for kids and stuff like that. Like, we can utilize that for our advantage if our parents aren't so reluctant to embracing the innovation and start finding ways in different spaces to be able to kind of move the needle forward as we continue to develop as a society as a whole. It's just our education is still the same way. It's the same style of it. Y'all's books that y'all read in this chat are the same books that the kids are reading now. Things just got to move forward. So I'm not saying that it's a problem, but I'm just saying the same parents who didn't necessarily love school, sat in there bored as fuck, didn't like it, are now parents complaining about kids not sitting down. Well, you didn't love sitting in class for an hour and a half, chewing gum and bored out your mind either. But what did they tell you to do? Sit your ass down and do it. Now you made it. You're older. Now you're like, why the kids there? Why can't they sit there? The same reason your ass wasn't sitting there. I didn't see you become a fucking like a Elon Musk from that situation. It's not breeding that. It's not breeding you to become those things. And there you go. And that's really when we speak about Rockefeller and we speak about the systems and things of that nature, it leans into what this discussion we're having. The plan is working. So when we're saying, oh, the kids ain't listening, they acting up. But guys, this process, this project, this approach is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. They're distracted. They're not paying attention. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to do it. But guess what? They give you a paycheck and tell your ass to teach them the exact things that they told you to teach you. And y'all are upset about iPads. No, the shit is not it's not an approach that would be something that will create the next Elon Musk. And so if we have situations where we can have these older guys come back, what's the first thing they do to you in high school, Dak, as soon as you hit the league? Come on back.
Oh yeah.
As soon as you make it to the league, come back to your high school and talk to the kids, man. I'm trying to keep them in line. It's just, that's natural. But look, that's something that the people that have gone on and become very successful are choosing to do. Find it interesting that the system that's supposed to develop kids to become similar paths isn't doing the same thing. We have to go and reach out to colleges for us to come speak to them. We sitting back wondering why the hell they don't have us. The teacher, we were doing a Hampton-Sydney conversation. Bro, the teacher grabbed a notebook, sat down in the seat. He's like, man, I'm ready to take a class. He's facilitating it. And he knows his students, so he knows the students that want to ask the questions or the ones that are a little shy that may not, like you said, he's able to facilitate this because he's like, look, I don't have the level of education or experience that maybe Dak may have, but look, I know my students and I know my kids, and if I can bridge the gap and somehow inspire, give inspiration, et cetera, this is going to be a lot more. There's going to be a lot more value in this long term than me just going over, open your books to chapter 3. We're going to X, Y, and Z. So I just challenge us to continue to try to develop different strategies because, look, there are schools that do it like this. As much as y'all think it is, there are schools where people are paying, and I see we're not calling the elites no more, but whatever we calling them niggas, whatever they're calling them, they don't get to just open textbooks and shit like that, bro. They be outside in the parks. They be reading this. They be having people that used to own this company is coming back, and he used to do this, and he was on the exec board of this. Like, no, there are people that pay a high dollar amount of kids that ain't going for your kids reading, no teacher reading me no fucking stale ass book.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not in that space or you don't qualify to be that in those type of schools, I just want you to know those schools do exist, what we're describing here.
Yeah. And I want to highlight, you want to highlight this comment first because I want to highlight the super chat from Uluwehi.
Okay. Reminds me of the South Park episode with Cartman. How can we reach these kids?
I thought you put that up.
I might have hit it, joint, but
yeah, my fault. That's why I thought you wanted to highlight it before. But Uluwehi, shout out to Uluwehi. Thank you. Thank you. Jokes aside, my best teacher was a retired scientist and I became a biologist, but politicians never have the right application of the bright idea. Yeah, let me say this. If we have a problem with our school systems, then why don't the teachers go start something of their own? If you're being hindered to do your job, if your commitment is to your kids, no different than when we talk about doctors, you take this Hippocratic oath to serve your patients. If there's something that you're being told to do that is not allowing you to lock in with your commitment to the people in whatever role that you're playing, then you need to do something else. You need to figure out a new solution. Complaining about it and I'm not able to do my job because of this or because of that, that's not the energy that we need. The reason why kids don't listen to a lot of our teachers, if we're just being real, or listen to a lot of our parents or anybody for that matter, is because y'all aren't cool. Adults follow what's cool. The same way that when we're swiping through our algorithm and we stop at something that engages us, that intrigues us, it's no different than that. I saw somebody write that you have who you said Critical wrote that you only have 10 to 15 seconds to teach them.
Yeah.
You have 10 to 15 seconds to convince them that you're cool enough so they can give them your attention. That's what you have 10 to 15 seconds. If you have 10 to 15 seconds to do that, you have to convince them that they're cool. Why would I listen to somebody the same way that I may not want to listen to somebody take financial advice from somebody who's broke? Why would I want to listen to somebody who's not living the type of life that I want to eventually live? Why would I listen to you when I now have the exposure with my tablet to go watch somebody who's actually doing the things that I want to do? I can pay a few $100s a month and have access to them. Why would I want to engage with you? What are you teaching me? We're at this point where now the kids are actually showing like, yo, none of this stuff that we're learning is relevant to anything that we're going to do later on. It's babysitting. If we're being real, public education is babysitting. Yeah. That's why parents don't care, aren't locked in and understanding what their kids are learning, aren't putting pressure on them because they don't care. That's why they're giving their kids the tablet anyway and putting it all on the teachers. And the teachers are complaining, saying it's all on us, these kids, it's the kids. No, you're not cool enough. You're not cool enough. Perhaps you haven't had the real world experience to where they're going to be excited about sitting in your classroom. And perhaps it's the topics that they're learning, because nowadays you go to these schools and all they're doing is preparing for tests at the end of the year. They're not even learning anything engaging. The only thing they're learning is how to take a test. And so therefore, when the scores go out to the state, to the country, whatever, they can get proper funding back or not be on some type of list, getting called a remedial school, whatever it is. You're not teaching those kids something that they're excited about. That's why they're not learning. They're not excited to walk into your classroom because they don't think you're cool. They don't think that it's a good investment for them to pay attention to you because it's not going to help them later on down the line. And they're not wrong when it comes to that. They're not wrong. You're not adjusting. Are we learning about AI in school? Are we learning about real estate? Are we learning about becoming a plumber? Are we bringing barbers in school? Are we doing any of these things?
Yeah.
What is I'm sorry, but just being a teacher is not exciting enough. Just saying you're a teacher, that's not going to grab a lot of people's attention. It's not. You have to now, as a teacher, you have to compete with all of these distractions that you're naming, and you have to win. And if the distractions are out competing you, then perhaps you should pass the ball or tag somebody else in, just like what this guy James Fishback recommended. Not that you can't be a teacher, but take a step back and look at yourself as, hey, I'm the liaison between the education and making sure that the kids, I'm just the vehicle that can connect the two. I'm the line that connects these two dots. So I'm going to bring people in that are excited to learn or excited to teach, or the kids are excited to hear from them. You have to do that. That's why career days used to be important. Other than that, why would I listen to you?
Yeah, the career days. I forgot all about those. Those were dope. The career days. And like you said, when you use the example of some the education, damn, what the hell was on my head? Like when you're in the space of, go ahead, Glay.
Yeah, but that's the mindset we have to, and it's not because it's fair or it's not right that the kids. Go ahead.
You remind me that it's like it's the same thing that we hear a lot of parents say. Oh, it's so hard to get my kids to listen at the house because they're so distracted by X, Y, and Z. Well, Nick, you don't get it out from parenting because what the fuck is on TikTok or Instagram? We're not saying that these situations aren't real. We're just saying you got to win. And the strategy you approach with it, it's just got to be different. I mean, I felt like we kind of brushed on this in a different category last week or early this week about another situation that, our mindset, like we're not disagreeing that these things don't exist. I saw your comment, Abu Han. When's the last time either one of you guys were in school? It's not 2005 anymore. Almost no teacher is just opening a textbook. They're already giving 110. They're already giving 110% getting paid peanuts. Abu Han.
I'll respond after you. Go ahead.
Okay. My perception on that, only a hit dog holler. If it don't fit you, then I ain't talking about you. But you are a part of the public school system. If you're not one of the kids or the teachers that doesn't give 150 and that is innovative, or if you are one of the people that we are talking about that stands out when you go to public school, and there's always the one teacher that all the kids come back and holler at and talk to and be in their classes after school, I'm not talking about those people. I am talking about what majority of people who use the school system for a safe paycheck, health insurance. Yes, they're getting peanuts, but their asses could go off and go do something else to get paid more, but they chose not to. I'm talking about those people, the ones that you could tell they're here for the check and the check only. If this is shaping our youth, there's no reason that something that is on a phone should be more distracting than something that is in person. And yes, there's a lot of things that you have to compete with nowadays. TikTok, social media, all these things. Cool. I'm not saying it don't exist. I'm just saying it's not a fucking excuse to lose. And so whatever the plan looks like in 2026 may not be the same as it was in 2020 or 2005, like you said. But but what I'm saying, it's the same fucking focus, is that we have to win. And so there ain't much change in 2005 versus 2025 of as far as what we need to be accomplished, which is we need our kids educated and we need these people to continue and push the envelope and become and get these good jobs, et cetera, et cetera. So the mission is still the same, regardless if the environment and the circumstances have changed. So like I said, I'm not attacking you. If I'm not speaking about you, I'm not targeting you. But let's not play. Don't make it seem like we didn't go through school and we know what this shit looked like. Yeah. I've been to private school and I've been to public school, and it's far fucking different when your parents are paying X amount of $1,000 a year versus when the government's paying for you to go to school. It's a totally different experience.
And let's not act like teachers are giving 110%. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Let's not act like teachers are not choosing to become teachers because you get summers and weekends and a lot of vacations. Let's not play these games as if all these teachers are just delivering 110%, because we all know that's bullshit. A lot of these teachers do bare minimum. You asked me if I've been in the school. My mom taught in my hometown for 34 years. My godmother's husband was actually the one responsible, the assistant superintendent in our town, for eliminating the achievement gap between Black kids and other kids. That report has continued to come out. I read that report, and I was actually on a board for our public school system. So I'm very much involved in the school system. I was substitute teaching when I was playing in the NFL, in the league, and teaching after that.
Yeah, just because you love that.
Not only that, because a lot of the same complaints that you were having, I thought it was bullshit. You know what my mom and I decided to do? We decided to start our program, which was an after-school program to connect with the kids, to teach them a lot of the things that they were missing in school.
Yeah,
so the
you did.
point is, I'm not telling you to do something that I wouldn't do on my own. I'm not a teacher. That's not my profession. If that's your profession and that's your commitment, it kind of reminds me of going back to that Dame Dash mindset. Stop doing shit that you wouldn't do for free. Do something that you would do for free. If being a teacher is something that you're passionate about, figure out a way to make it make sense. If you can't make enough money to have a lifestyle that you want to live while also living in your purpose, then figure it out in a different way. Figure out how to teach those kids. Create your own school. That's what the other kids do. That's what Abuhan, you always on here clowning a little bit. We always go back and forth about saying that I'm Jewish. That's another thing that I respect in the Jewish community. Jewish people live in Montclair, New Jersey, pay some of the highest taxes, and they send their kids to a private school because they don't want to deal with all this BS with the public school system. They don't complain and say, I don't want to pay these taxes. They pay those taxes, and they still invest in their kids going to a private school. You have the ability to create your own school if you want right now. And if it's a real problem that is amongst a lot of the other teachers, and they're feeling it the same way, if they're giving 110%, you're telling me that people who are willing to give 110% and not have anything in return come their way, as far as they're working hard 110%, but they're not getting that return, you're telling me those type of people aren't willing to step out and start their own school? Oh, because it's not easy. Oh, you want the comfort of a paycheck every 2 weeks. Oh, you want the comfort of working for something that's already constructed. Well, the current system that you're working in is not intended to actually inspire these kids. It's intended to make them good workers. Kids are not interested in becoming good workers. Why? Because they're exposed to all these different people that are not just workers, and they want those type of lives. So if you can't interest them, that's a you thing, not a them thing. Either teach them and figure out a way, or remove yourself and step out the way and let somebody else do it. All these things may be real. They may be absolutely real, but at the end of the day, they're just excuses, and they may be valid excuses. They may be valid challenges. But if you're not able to overcome those challenges and deliver on your job and win, then we have to replace you. It's as simple as that. We would look at it with the same energy as a politician. Abuhan, you would have no problem calling out a politician and saying, hey, if you're not delivering on what you said, we got to get you up out of there. Why is it any different with a teacher? If you're not delivering on the things that you're supposed to deliver on, either you need to figure out a way to change and do better and inspire and just figure it out, or you should remove yourself. It's as simple as that. Maybe that's just not the right field for you. I don't know how else to say it, Glad.
It's real.
I don't know how else to say it. Yes, I have been in the school since 2005.
Yeah,
yes, I've always been involved in my school system.
Yeah,
you come back with me to Montclair. Yo, I've always been involved in my school system. Always been involved with those kids. That story that I was telling you about when I was sitting in that history class, when I was watching that kid actually ended up living with me years later. So I'm very invested in a lot of these young kids and just dealing with them and figuring out what they're interested in. And in our after school program, where sometimes I would be getting there late and it would be just my mother there with 30-something kids running around in the park, coming into the park house. They would be engaged and interested in everything that we were teaching them. We were teaching them real estate by playing Monopoly. We were giving them speaking engagements. They were running stuff. They were the ones setting the table, serving the food, doing all these types, cleaning up after. They were engaged.
Mm-hmm.
So
and y'all wrote a book.
Energy, and this is after school.
And y'all wrote a book, didn't you?
And side note, but what I'm saying is the kids, they were so engaged and locked in after school. They're tired. They would lock in on the things that we were teaching them. We would learn about real history, to where they would go into the classroom the next day, ask their teacher certain things, and come back to us and be excited and be disappointed when we canceled the program. But we were just doing this.
So the program was helping them get more. Or hold on, explain the program again.
The program was an after-school program. We would feed the kids. We worked with the local soup kitchen. Shout out to Tony's Soup Kitchen. We would have them come in. We'd have a topic of the day. They would have to do a writing exercise. Then after they do the writing exercise, they would have to present that writing that they did and present it as almost a speech, not necessarily like a debate, but present it in a speech and say that in front of the class to help them with their public speaking. We would then move on to a history lesson, or we would jump on and talk about real estate, or we would talk about all these things and use real life examples. It was a very engaging program. I would have some of my boys that just got maybe got into some trouble. And then they would come talk to the kids. Some of my boys that never got in trouble come talk to the kids. We would have a lot of these people engaging. And just from the standpoint of just my mom, me, Justin, whoever it was locked in, the community really embraced it. And we'd have people just volunteering. We took all these kids to New York City for the first time to go see a play. Like, you have to just make it exciting for them, bro. If they see you as cool, they will lock in. If they don't see you as cool, the same way adults won't give you any time and attention, they won't either. It's simple. This is people choose. A lot of these teachers out here choose to be teachers, not because they want to be teachers, but because of the conveniences that being a teacher. And that's not a shot at the teachers, because I think that that's 99% of people overall. The reason why you're working the job that you're working right now is not because you're passionate and you think that this is your purpose. It's because of other benefits that you get from it. That's 99% of people. So I don't think teachers are any different. I know we like to hold teachers in the highest regards and stuff. It's a job.
Yeah.
It's a job. Yeah. Some teachers go above and beyond, like my mother, who would be at school early, who would be staying there late. And even she'll tell you, a lot of these young teachers coming on board, they want to leave. The bell rings at 2:30. They want to be out of there at 3 o'clock. The bell rings to start school at, let's say, 7:45. They pulling up at 7:30. They're not doing any work when they go home. They're not working on their lesson plans. They're not investing in their craft. They're not willing to work outside of the hours that they're getting paid for. This is across the board in any job. It's no different than when it comes to teachers.
Yeah.
The only difference is you're actually responsible in ways for a lot of the younger generations, developing them, growth, education, all these different areas, becoming a young adult, man, woman, all these different things. So there's more of a responsibility on you. So if you feel like you need to get paid, figure out a way to get paid more, or leave your current situation and create something to where teachers can get paid more.
I like it.
That's, bro. I just can't. I refuse to see the world this way, bro. I just refuse to see the world this way. My mom is a fucking legend. Phyllis, I'm glad you wrote that, because, and a lot of times I speak on here about my dad, and how much of a superhero he is. My mother is a fucking legend. Yeah. Has won every single award at that school. And you go to Montclair, and when we go back to my hometown, we walk in, let's say we're in the supermarket or something like that. My mom is the superstar.
Yeah.
I'm working, here it is, like, damn, I done played in the NFL, like sports and stuff. My mom is that person. She's the person that everybody paying attention to because she invested in her craft and she took it seriously. And those same kids, the love that she gets when she goes back and she sees these kids that are now my age and older, bro, you can see the impact that she's made on them. Yeah. And I've sat in her classes. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. It's some people, you know how they say like LeBron James or some athletes are just born to play sports. My mother was born to be a teacher, bro. She was born to be a teacher. How we get excited, that's her shit. You feel me? Like, this is my lane. So yes, she is a legend. And I got to be very clear about that. I need some breath work. I'm getting a little hot, Clay.
All right, Clay. I'm with you on this.
And Mrs. Caldwell's class coming soon. We just recorded her first book. So Mom Dukes is about to continue educating. We got her books coming out. We're doing like some AI readings of her doing, I think the first book, we already recorded it.
Oh, like an 11 Labs type shit?
It was, what's that, 11 Labs?
Oh, so 11 Labs reads in a person's voice for you.
Oh, so we're doing something like that, but with Aesop's Fables. Okay. So it's pretty much her reading the book and going through it, having a lesson plan, asking the kids certain questions. So it allows, so for all y'all complaining about, they just want to look at the tablets and all this other stuff. Okay, well, here's something positive that you can look on a tablet. So when we start Mrs. Caldwell's class, her channel, it will be educational purposes, and that will be a worth, giving your kid the tablet for. So we got y'all.
Yeah.
Come on,
okay.
Man. Hey, Mom, man, I'm about to call my mom and tell her what you think about all this, man.
Yeah, do a phone, do the call in.
I'm about to call her.
Yeah, call in.
I'm calling her. Let me see if she's gonna pick up.
Call in real quick. Where Abu Han at though?
He doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing. Just listening. Oh, you in the car? You're not watching the show? Oh, all right. We were just showing you some love, but you on live now. So we just talking about education and teaching. And I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have put you on the spot, but you know what I do. Sometimes I put you on the spot. All right, so we'll talk to you another day. We were just talking about how it's. What do you want? All right, so somebody in the chat brought up how it's very difficult to teach these young kids. And they were blaming it more so on the kids, like, oh, try teaching these kids in 2025. The kids won't learn. And you and I, we've talked about how there's a lot of teachers that get into teaching for the wrong reasons, for the vacations, for the weekends, and they at 3 o'clock they don't want to do any work after. And in order to really engage these kids, it's an investment that goes above and beyond your hours that you're just getting paid for. Would you agree or disagree?
Exactly. And I'm going to tell you something. I noticed that, and I don't have anything against young people, but a lot of these young teachers, the minute 257 came, they were out the door. They were out the door. Where teachers that were my age, we stayed on late, would work on the weekends. A lot of them don't do that. They're out the door. But you do, it's a real commitment. On vacations, I would take papers to correct,
I would see it.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot that you have to do outside of your 8 to 3 or 8 to 2:30.
And they were talking about how now, with the impact of tablets and technology and everything, how it's harder to teach kids. And I'm just saying that may be true, but you can't use that as an excuse. You have to figure out a way to be more appealing than a tablet. If you're not more appealing than a tablet, then that says a lot about you, not the kids, in my opinion.
Exactly. No, that's your job to teach them. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Whatever you need to do to get their attention, you have to do it. You have to try different things. If this doesn't work, try something else. But that's your job. And if you can't do it, then maybe you should do something else.
Hey, y'all see where I get it from? if you can't do it, maybe you should do something else. All right, another thing that I wanted to bring up. Oh, man. Oh, this I recall. They always would put those kids in your class that first grade they may have had difficulty with, or that they thought that they were a behavior problem, or this kid can't learn, or they want to classify this kid. And your energy was always, nah, teachers just need to do better. You need to don't let them classify your kid like that.
Nope.
So
and another thing, you can't. What teachers would do is you would get new kids at the beginning of the year, and they start telling you all the problems that they had with them. Mm-hmm. No, it's all different. With me, you got a fresh slate. You go into it saying this is gonna be a successful year. We're gonna do whatever we need to do. But that's what happens. They gave me all the behavior problems. One year I had like 6, 7 behavior problems in my class, and nobody else had any in the behavior class. Because what happens is if you're successful with those kids, they're going to put them in your class instead of helping those teachers that need strategies to help those kids succeed. They just put them all in your class. And that's what happened.
Mom, if I haven't told you lately, you're a fucking legend.
Thanks, Dad. I love you.
Love you too. And she said she love you too, Mom. Right? All right, we'll see. We'll call you after.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye.
Have a good day.
All right, you too.
Okay.
Man, let's go on the breath work.
Let's do this breath work, man.
You got it.
I don't got nothing else to say, man.
You got it today, right?
I got it today, bro. I got it. Just give me a sec. I just gotta pull it up.
Yeah,
man, yo.
Yeah, and I didn't even know that. It got to a point where they were giving her all the kids that was on bullshit.
Bro, I remember she would just, I'd be like, yo, say something. Like, that's not right. Like, they getting
Here you are.
Nah, it's cool, because now you're going to give it to a teacher that doesn't want to actually embrace that. So now it's going to hurt the kid. So, but I used to always be like, man, they need to figure it out. Because you keep being the one that just accepts those kids. The bad part is the other teachers, they never get forced to learn how to deal with those kids, and they can continue making those excuses. But it's a tough position to be in.
Yeah.
It's a tough position to be in. All right, let's get to this breath work. I always put her on the spot, bro. She always be like, I don't want to speak. I'm not a good public speaker. I'll be like, what?
Yeah.
Throw her in there. Throw it in there.
Throw
All right.
Throw
Throw it in there, bro. That's the energy.
Cover
Throw
that
it in
nigga
there.
right
Throw that little nigga in the pool, man. All right, man. I'm hot, bro. All right. Let's we got our breath work. So this is the most important part of the show. So for those that can't make the breath work, just make the breath work. And if you're gonna leave a little early, just make sure you like on your way out. But we're gonna be very intentional. Every inhale, we're inhaling positive energy. Every exhale, we're releasing the negative. Very simple. We're gonna follow this yellow dot on the screen as well as follow the noise if you want to close your eyes. To each their own. All right, let's start with that inhale. Remember to focus on positive energy, and we'll begin now. Very intentional with this positive energy. Hold. And we're gonna get our last release, getting rid of all that negative energy. Y'all know what we come here to do. Let's just be better, do better, elevate ourselves, increase our standards, become the best leaders, followers we can become. Whatever is necessary to fulfill the role. What is the goal? What is the task? What is my role? What am I here to do? What is the job? My job is to teach these kids. My job is to do this. My job is to make these. Whatever it is, you got to figure out whatever way possible to win. That's what it comes down to. If you need some help, call on a friend. Perhaps asking for help is one of the best things you could do, because then you'll realize that other people are also in the same boat. And we never know what we can do ultimately until we start locking in with other people. What is the saying? If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. All right. So let's compound, bring that energy together and figure out. We may think that, oh, I can't start in my own school. Well, shoot, you get 3 or 4 teachers together and you start figuring out, well, okay, how much money can we get from these couple kids? Okay, I can live off of this. And then you start growing it. And just like any other business, it could turn into something huge that you never thought that you could be making a lot more money and making an even bigger impact, because the value that you're giving is bigger and you got a better system. So we just got to always just figure it out. And when it comes to our kids, obviously, that's one of the most important areas. So strength and honor, onward and upward. Let's get to the bag. All the things that we focus on throughout the day, throughout the weeks, throughout the months that are going to add up to our what we like to call our personal legend. That's our impact on this world. So let's make sure that we're following the right path. We got the right guardrails. We're connecting the right dots and staying focused as we live in our purpose. I like to focus on peace, love, happiness, health, wealth, and everything we do, integrity. Got to add that balance in there. And then Glay hit me with that sprinkle of perspective, man. All right, Glay, you got it.
Okay.
And get the cream.
Get the cream in there. Great topics, man. I definitely want to touch on that lady. What is it? The attorney general that's been getting cooked all over the internet. Went in there. I guess what y'all might
Pam Bondi. That's what I wanted to.
Oh, we hitting that tomorrow.
Bro, I had it on deck.
Oh, we gotta hit that joint. The way I've been seeing her get cooked, man, I'm ready for it.
Bro,
but
she looked drunk up there, and it's just because she was trying her hardest.
Compromise.
Like she said, bro, they're talking about Epstein, and she's talking about the Dow. She's like, people are coming at Donald Trump, and she misspoke. I guess she had like her list that, okay, when they say this, say this. and she answered in a way like, yo, that was the wrong like option for that answer.
Right, wrong
She's talking
script.
about she's talking about Epstein, and why they coming after Epstein, and out of nowhere, she's like, it's because Donald Trump, it's the Dow. It's the Dow. And like everybody's looking like, what does the Dow have to do? And she's like, are you serious? Are you bro, it was crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
we gotta run a feedback on that.
Yeah.
Is it like a whole day, or what is that? It's in the courtroom?
It's a hearing. It was a hearing, I guess,
Hearing.
for the Epstein files, or I don't know exactly what it was. I think Kash Patel was a part of it too. Who
And
knows
what they say that I came out and say it wasn't a trafficking.
Oh, it wasn't a
ring?
sex trafficking ring. Yeah.
Yo,
Yeah.
this is getting crazy.
Yeah, it's getting wild. But people gonna start, it's gonna start getting exposed.
Yeah, it's definitely.
I'm confident in that.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna get out there. Now, how y'all niggas respond is one thing.
Yeah,
but it's gonna be out. It's gonna get out there.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens. All right, let me we'll see y'all later. Let me see. Hold on. Finn wrote, a strong mind and a bright outlook turn challenges into stepping stones. I love that. I love that. Great to meet you, Penn. Yeah, Mama Lay, I'm glad that you shouting out. Everybody shout out all the newcomers. We appreciate y'all. El Relly said, I missed the whole combo on the phone with a friend from Glen Ridge. Shout out to Jersey. Oh, that's dope.
Big Jersey.
That's dope. Big Jersey. You know, we take pride in that. Let's see. Finn, listening to music nowadays to remember my roots, was thinking of you being the single dad of the twins, heard Train in Vain. Thought of you when I heard it. Yo, this is, we're doing it, bro. Like all of us, like we're doing it. One love always, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Please be safe. Love from Kentucky. Love from Unc. Appreciate you, Michelle. And let's end as we always do with Quee sending the fire emojis. We'll see y'all tomorrow.